Whenever you are to the rear body lock and let's say I do some sort of mat return, he will always try to 4-point. Even when he's down, let's say, into a turtle and I'm trying to attack or ground and pound from here, he will immediately start to build up height and now he'll start to escape from here, right? So we have to learn how to break him down progressively to not just stay in turtle but also get his hip broken down at some point, because from here is where I can start collecting his hand, break his base even further and go for strategies like this, which is optimal for ground and pound. This is the Khabib leg ride where he steps between the two legs. This now will prevent Havish from turtling over, try to turtle, because his legs cannot cross themselves, right? I'm sitting on his top leg. Similarly, if he tries to build up height over here, build up height with your hand, I can always keep collapsing that base and now pin him here for more long, right? But for all of that to happen, he has to be on his hip. Even better if he gives me a completely flattened position where his shoulders are also to the mat, as are both hips on the mat. Okay, because here I can start to work my ground and pound from half guard, full guard. Okay, so those are positions that we want to reach, but we have to progressively break them down. Post your hand now. So we'll start from this position first. This is called a referee's position. This is very common in wrestling. This is not a position where you should be for a long time as the training partner on the bottom, because this will simply allow me to get up on top, start throwing my hook, work my power half, and now start to break you down back to the hips. But he will use this position consistently to start popping his legs up to the 4-point, and now from here he can start to escape again or build height, right? So we need to learn, we need to know how to attack this immediately and start putting his hip to the mat. Okay, so what we are going to use in this position, let's say he was on his turtle, yes, and I see him climbing up to the hand post. Okay, one thing which I have to be always aware of when I'm in turtle, I should mention it, not to keep my right hand super deep. Anyone can tell me why? Because of the Maki Komi threat. He can start to capture that hand and start to do a big rollover and I'll go along with him. So go back down. So when I'm attacking the turtle, I'm keeping my knees pinched around his leg, covering his hips, and I'm keeping a short hook, not committing my entire elbow, short hook. Okay, and now from here, as soon as he builds up to his hand, what I'll do is called a wrestling chop. So I go here with my forearm and I start to chop his elbow down to the mat. Okay, you have to find the bending part of the elbow, that is the front or back of the elbow pit itself. Don't try to chop at his elbow bone. That will hyperextend his hand. It will cause injuries. Okay, so always assume that his elbow pit will be right in the front of his wrist. So I can go from here and I can start chopping it down. Whenever I do that, it significantly decreases his ability to lift his hip up. And if he tries to lift his hip up, lift your hip up from here, it only makes him more vulnerable to get pulled back down to the hip, because this side he does not have base. Whereas if he had base, keep your hand out. Now when I try to pull his hip, he has much better base due to that hand. But once I reduce it to an elbow and now I start to drag, his hip immediately starts to fall. And notice what situation have I created. My favorite situation, to start scoring wrist, pinning him back further down. Okay, so let's just get good at chopping the hand on both sides. My partner will simply prop up from the turtle, start from a turtle. I'm here, maybe I'm hitting him from here. It starts to build up, perfect. I chop again and immediately I start to pull his hip in a semicircle. So I start to move, pull his hip down in a semicircle. Okay, and for now, don't go for Dagestani. We'll discuss all the details related to it. Just break him down again and now let him get back up. Get back up. Yes, and now I go back. I do the same thing again. I start to hit him, postures up, chop, drag. Okay, notice how close I'm keeping my head. When you do this, don't end up with your head too far. The closer your head is, the better control that you have on the person. Okay, 3 to 1. capture the hip. Both knees capturing his hip. Okay, stay on your in turtle bro first. Stay in turtle. Nehan, stay in turtle. Now keep the right leg up. So this right knee is up. Yes. Keep your toes on the mat like this. So you're straddling his hip. No, keep the right leg up. Yes. And now from here you start to hit him. That will force him to posture up. Now chop and now drag him back with the short hook. Okay. Now here he will have two scenarios for him. Okay. So I chop, I start to drag his hip down. Here's two scenarios. He would want to build back up very quickly to turtle again because he feels like he has gotten off balance, and this is a dangerous position to be. I can start to switch to seat belt, his neck is vulnerable. I can start to collect his hand and pin him, right? So he does not want to be here. So his initial reaction will be to immediately pop back up, go to your knees, yes, and build up again so that he can live to fight another day of building the 4-point base. So I want to make it as difficult for him as possible to build back up height once. Okay, we'll look at the Dagestani series. For now, I want to make it really difficult for him because you'll need to do this chopping action multiple times when you're trying to control a person who knows how to build height from here. Okay, and this action of building back up is what fatigues him or lands him in a bad position. So the best way in which I can control him here from building back is initially the hand hook, which was like very shallow over here while dragging him. I can start to take it elbow deep. Okay, at the same time I will go from here, not keeping my head over his head, but I'll start to bring my ear to his back. Okay, once my ear is to his back, at the same time I'm also like kind of controlling the wrist. Okay, so as he tries to build up to a turtle, start to build, go. See, it's very difficult for him to build up. It's not because I'm much more size advantage, but because the nature of his legs right now will not allow him to heist up. So what he's trying to do is heist, right? Come back down. But I have so much of my body weight attached behind him, leaning back. I'm not on my knees, I'm just showing you for an example. So much of my weight is leaning back that when he tries to build up and heist up, he can't. Okay. So what he'll be forced to do in this case is scissor his leg. That is another way of building up to a turtle. So scissor your leg. Other way. Yes. And this will provide him more momentum in which he can kind of kill my body weight. So I chop him down first with a short hook. I go elbow deep. Try to build up. Maybe a couple of times he builds up. I chop him back again. And now I hang this time. So he starts to scissor. As he scissors, what I do is, see, notice the space that gets created between his elbow and the knee. This allows me to insert an easy single hook, which is one of the best things that you can do from here. So as he has scissored, my left foot comes in, becomes a hook. Okay, and as he keeps building up, build up. Now I can throw my second hook as well. I can start using my power half, immediately break him down to a back position. So watch his hip heist and the scissor get up. So go hip heist. Okay, go back. Now I'll engage my body weight, try to hip heist, scissor. Okay, it buys me more than a couple seconds to insert the hook. Okay, and hook insertion, the single hook insertion especially, is very critical for you to take the back. If you don't have a single hook, you can't start attacking his back. So we always need to establish a single hook. From there we can start breaking him down further and further. Alright, let's try this. 3, 2, 1. Come on this way. So when I chop him and I'm here, now start to turn, scissor. See the space right now? That is the time I want to start inserting my hook. Okay, and I'll not let go of the pull that I have, the pull of my weight. Go back down again on the hip. So start turn, go. See, when the space was already there, that's the time when I'm inserting the hook. If he starts closing that space, now again it becomes very 50-50 for me to be able to insert that space or not, to insert that hook. But if I'm here, go, keep going, right there. Okay, and now I'm on top, start working with my power half. So drag him. So if I'm here, see the space almost closes. So now there's no space for you to insert the hook. Whereas if I scissor my leg, if I'm forced to scissor my leg, there's no way that I cannot expand or at least keep this amount of space, okay? So if I have to scissor, see that space that gets created. And that is the time when you have to insert the hook, okay? So make sure that you are not allowing them to hip heist by hanging onto their weight, but forcing this scissor. Another important detail regarding inserting the hook is, turn more this way, yes, that don't try to lift up. So as he scissors and goes, scissor, I'm not trying to lift and insert. That can be a strategy, but the easier one is I just bring my knee and I align it to this line, okay? So start to build up, he's building, I just take my knee here. And now as he sits back to decrease the space, sit back, I also slide back, okay? I start to see him scissor, I bring my knee along the line of his shoulder. And now I just have to point my foot towards the hook, go, start to pull back. As he pulls back, he carries me over. The next technique which will become super important to break him down further is going to be the power half. Okay, so this is one of the good breakdowns that we can have here. With the power half, the key idea is that I have to cover his far hip in some way. If I try to power half him from just one single hook and single hip, the breakdown will be less powerful, plus he can start to backstep. Do a backstep right now, yes. And now he can start to climb up on top, and now I might end up in this bottom position because my hips will fall first, right? So for the power half, the ideal case scenario is I have a hook and I put in the second hook as a short hook. Okay, now I can start to create a lot of pressure because I'm also lifting the hip on the other side. Another scenario is, turn this way, in which you are not able to put it in the far hook, where he's doing a good job, keep this space closed. Yeah, don't keep it up for now. Yeah, just close. So I'm unable to put the second hook. So in that scenario, what I'll do is I'll just come around his far hip and I'll just hold it with my open leg. Or what I even like to do is insert this hook, because now it attaches me to his far hip. Okay, so this hook is very valuable. If you can't get that, you can even just curl your calf behind his butt. So now I have climbed onto his far hip. And now when I do the same effect, keep your hands on the mat. Good posture, hand on the mat, yes. So now once again I can start to really put a lot of pressure, elevate, and now I can insert the second hook. I can start to take the back. Yes, that's it, slide. Now get the hook, good. Get the choking arm control, yes, nice. Chop his hand, he can't stand up, remember that. Now drag him, his hand is tight. Whenever his hand gets trapped, drag. Good. Collect the leg if you can, switch try करना, scrimmage position पे निरंजन. Collect the bottom hand, Dagestani, yes. Chop his bottom hand, see, whenever you see a hand for Saviso, chop it. Control his hip again, नहीं तो अंडर हुक ले लेगा. Addy, control his hip. Double leg की तरफ भी जा सकता है when he turns hip to the mat. Guys, keep moving, go. Havish, keep moving your hips out. Circle your hips away. That was the time for the Makikomi. Nice. Time.